I want you to know your cycle does not make you unpredictable. It is not something you should be ashamed of or be working against. Your cycle actually makes you very predictable because you know exactly what's going to be happening when. Also, don't be ashamed of it. Don't suppress it. Work with it. Welcome to the Pillow Talk podcast, except it's just Kai in bed yapping. The vibe here is that point of a sleepover where you're just lying in bed and things get really sad or funny or political. Anything extreme, that's the goal. So, enjoy. We are not the same as men. That is something we have to accept. Women and men are different biologically. Our hormones fluctuate throughout the month, and we have a 28-day cycle aligned with the moon. Men have a 24-hour cycle aligned with the sun, the masculine, the feminine. Leaning into our cycle is how we live a more abundant life. And we see so many cycle syncing things on the internet, or at least I do. I always see them as guidelines. So that's something I want to say for this video. This is a guideline. You need to listen to your body. Your body might actually prefer doing something else during a specific phase. The more we try to live like a man, doing the same things every single day with the same intensity, that just leads to burnout. You're decreasing your potential for abundance. It's not sustainable for us. And I know that for a lot of women, that makes it sound like, oh, women aren't strong enough. That's why a lot of women don't want to cycle sync because they're like, no, like I can do things even when I'm bleeding. I don't want you to hear this and think that I'm saying that women are weaker and so we shouldn't be doing things that men are doing. Like, no, that is not at all what I'm saying. But it is unsustainable to expect us to be doing the same thing of the same intensity every single day because of our cycles. And that doesn't make us weak. It's more just you are literally fighting your natural desires. Like you are fighting what your body needs and wants. So that makes you less in tune with your body. You're basically just in denial of what your body wants and what will make you live a better life as a woman. Okay, it might be a hard pill to swallow for some, but living your best life as a woman does mean getting more in tune with your cycle. That's not a bad thing at all. Don't feel ashamed of this. You're a woman. It's a beautiful thing that we have a cycle and that we're not always going to be wanting to jump around and run around and lift heavy things or be super social. I think it's so beautiful that we are cyclical like that. And also, a lot of people like to say that women are unpredictable because of our hormones. But like I said earlier, our cycles actually make us more predictable than men. And I'm not trying to say anything like, oh, women are better or whatever like that. Like, please. I don't believe that one is better than the other. I believe that we're different and we can be better at different things, okay? Anyway, we are more predictable because men's testosterone actually goes up and down depending on their environment. If they see like violence or a gun or even just a rugby game, their testosterone goes up. And seeing other things that I can't really remember right now makes their testosterone go down. So, really, their environment affects their hormones, which is unpredictable. Don't feel ashamed of your hormones, that they fluctuate, that they change with the cycle. It doesn't make you unpredictable. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you incapable. You're choosing to be aligned with your cycle because that's what's best for you. I don't know if you relate to me, but I used to try to do the same workouts, obviously with rotations of whatever I'm exercising, but I would be doing weightlifting every single day for the whole week, for the whole month. And I would expect that to be sustainable because that's what men do, right? And for me, what would literally always happen, is I would be consistent for 2 to 3 months. And then I wouldn't see the gym for another 2 months after that. And then I'd be consistent again. And I used to think, okay, you know what? Maybe that's just how I am. Maybe I just need some time away in order to build up motivation again, No, it was just unsustainable because I wouldn't give myself time to slow down when I needed to and then embracing the high energy when it came. And, that doesn't mean when you're menstruating, you're supposed to do nothing. Like, no, that is not at all what cycle syncing is about. Like, you're supposed to keep exercising. Your body wants to keep moving. I actually see it more as like a daily movement practice. I don't like saying exercising anymore because it sounds like, I don't know, it has like a more negative connotation in my head. So I like to say my daily movement practice. You need to get stagnant energy moving around. You also need to move your lymph, your waist. You need to exercise your muscles. Your muscles support your bones. Like, it's all so important to keep moving your body. It's also important for your moods. So really, like, do not take this as, okay, when I'm menstruating, I mustn't exercise. I must just be lazy. Like, no, you still move your body every day, just differently. You show up differently. And that is the whole point of cycle syncing. Because even all the jobs that we have, they were made by men long ago. So they were made for men. You're told to show up the same way every single day, doing the same thing. As a woman, what's important in this is how you show up. How you show up in the different phases of your cycle and what you do in your free time. So, for example, when you're ovulating, push for trying new things, offer your services a lot more, ask to do things that would be helping the other people in your workplace, ask to try new things, ask to do something that's higher above your pay grade or whatever, like to, get yourself up there. Vocalize your ideas and really put yourself out there. And then when you're menstruating, you want to be more reserved, maybe stick to more of the planning side of things, evaluating what's been working, what hasn't been working. But obviously, you're still going to work every day and you're doing what you got to do. You're just not pushing yourself too much. And that doesn't mean that you are behind. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or being a bad worker. That is what is sustainable. If you push yourself during those days and do that every single day of the month, you're going to have burnout. Like, it's not going to be good. And that's also why I say your free time is also what really matters. Like, what you're doing in your free time, how you choose to exercise, when you choose to be social, and all of those types of things. So that's what's been working for me. Obviously, right now, I'm not working a full-time job, but that is coming. Okay, that's coming. So I will obviously update you guys when that does happen. But I have experienced this in terms of like going to university, where I had to go there every single day. And some days have to do a presentation that I, didn't really want to do because I was menstruating or whatever. But it really does matter how you show up and what you do in your free time, because then that helps when you have to do things out of your control. The reason that knowing your cycle, knowing what hormones go up and go down, and how that affects you, the reason it's important is because it's important for your dietary needs, your energy levels, like all of that changes in the different phases and affects how you will show up in life. I say that it's so important, the way you show up at work, the way you show up in social events, when you choose to do social events, all that stuff, because if you are being overly social when your body has very low energy and just wants to go inward, you have a higher chance of being anxious or lashing out at people or just being moody or whatever. Or if you are isolating yourself too much during like ovulation when you have high energy, there's a higher chance you'll be more depressed and, just not feeling good. So that's why this is also really important. Okay, I don't know the levels of by heart. So I will put up a picture for the visuals. When you are ovulating, estrogen is the highest. And testosterone goes up a little bit. I don't think you really have testosterone in any other phases of your cycle, but that is also why we have so much more energy during that time. So when it comes to how our hormones fluctuate, what all of those hormones do is like in our menstrual phase, our body becomes more, I want to say sensitive, but that's not a bad thing. People always see sensitive meaning irrational. And I don't really understand that because, most things when they're sensitive, they're actually like highly accurate and have a low error rate. So that's exactly what that time brings for you. Like anything that ever bothers you in a normal day that you normally tolerate because you have more oxytocin and whatever, in that time you won't tolerate it. So it's actually a time where you should be listening to your emotions and stuff because they are very accurate. So when I say sensitive, don't take that in a bad way either. There are good sides to it. Because of that, we want to go more inward. We want to kind of sit back, not spend too much time out there, and just evaluate. This is a time to try and not be social, right? Like I said earlier, if you're going to be being social during this time, it's just a recipe for disaster. Like, you have such a high chance of becoming anxious, moody, all the other things. So, in order for you to sustain yourself, and not blow up on people or even on yourself, taking this time to go inward is very important. But obviously, sometimes it's out of your control, and that doesn't mean that you must now stay home and not talk to anybody. Like, it depends, and it's what you can control. So, if you are planning events and it doesn't matter the date, then, work around that so that you can be your best self, basically. And just so you can feel better, it always sucks to go out when you're uncomfortable and you just want to be in bed or whatever. So why force yourself to do it if you have the control not to, you know? So if you need to be social during your menstrual phase, just like be gentle with yourself. Don't overexert yourself. Go home if you feel like, okay, I really want to be in bed right now. I can't do this anymore. Like, you don't need to push yourself, but show up, It really is about how you show up though during all of these phases. And I'll say that I don't know how many times in this video. And then with your ovulatory phase, where you have that burst of a little bit of testosterone and a lot of estrogen, what happens there is you get so much more. You want to be out there, you want to be doing things, you want to express yourself more. And yeah, really take advantage of that. And again, if it's out of your control and you are maybe isolating more than you should be during that time, just create more and express yourself and maybe dance a bit, do a lot of high intensity exercises. That helps a lot as well. But obviously the social aspect is really important. So if you can't be out there, call someone. And then obviously with those changes in energy levels, you'll want to change how you move your body every day. My workout routine used to just be weightlifting, and as I've said, that did not work out. I never used to embrace Pilates and yoga. Okay, I used to do yoga, but not as an exercise. I used to see it as a stretching thing. Lately, I've been actually getting more intense with it. And I must say, part of the never wanting to try Pilates thing, it was definitely because I had this whole, most of my life, I've been so in denial of my femininity. Since I was young, I always wanted to beat the feminine allegations. I never wanted to be this weak, soft girl because that was what it meant to me. I had basically internalized misogynism. I would always try to be like, oh, I'm not like other girls. Or I would go play rugby with the boys just to prove that I'm not a soft girl. Me not embracing Pilates was part of that because it was always oh, all the women do Pilates. And I was like, no, I'm a weightlifting bitch, fuck you. Now that I've started getting back into embracing that I am a woman, Pilates has actually been one of my favorite things. I actually really fucking love it. Especially incorporating weightlifting into Pilates. I love it. You want to embrace that increase in energy during your ovulatory phase by doing more HIIT workouts, more weightlifting, more cardio, more running, even dancing and stuff. You want to embrace that energy. Don't let yourself get stuck in the slowness of the menstrual and luteal time. You want to move that energy when you have it. Then when that menstrual phase comes, don't feel too guilty about stopping the high intensity. It really does feel so much better. I have times where in my ovulatory phase, obviously I'll be doing cardio and really moving my body. And then my luteal phase comes, laying in bed, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like exercising. I don't want to do it. And it's because in my head, I'm imagining doing cardio. I'm imagining doing something really intense. And sometimes I don't even catch myself thinking like that. I only really noticed it when I was to my boyfriend, oh, I really don't feel like exercising. And then he said to me, just go on the mat and stretch. You don't need to do something intense. Just do something. And I was like, yeah, that's actually what my plan is. But for some reason, I got so caught up in how I have been exercising, it really was more sustainable for me for like when my energy levels are lower to just do what works for me at the time. And it really does help with motivation. The next day I was doing like a proper Pilates workout, because I had the motivation from the previous day. And my mind wasn't set on like, I have to exercise to get sweaty and heart racing and all that in order for it to be effective. I also feel like the days where I don't do any movement, especially in the morning, I feel so out of touch with my body. My body doesn't feel good. It feels so much better, even if you just stretch in the morning. Another reason why I find it so important to not always be doing high intensity exercises like a man does is because for women, those high intensity workouts, constant cold plunging, constant hit workouts, it actually just raises our cortisol. For men, because they have a constant 24-hour cycle, there's no problem with that. It actually is benefiting them. But for us, when we're doing it in times where our body wants to slow down, it's actually just stressing us out, increasing cortisol, which increases inflammation, which is just another recipe for disaster. You don't want chronic inflammation, chronic stress. You don't want any of that. So it really is important to start getting in touch with the rhythms of your body and listen to it. You don't need to fight it. There's no point denying your femininity. And that's something I've learned a lot recently. And I guess I'm trying to spread that out there because, society really has made us hate the idea of being a woman. All the jokes and insults about women aren't true, like about women being weak or about women being emotional or irrational or whatever. Like, none of them are true, but we try so hard to deny them. And in doing so, we end up just ruining things for ourselves, And in denying the false things, we end up denying things that could be helping us to live a better life. Like how I would always deny the idea of being like a weak woman, and then that led to me not wanting to do like Pilates and wear pink. Like, it's so simple, it really comes down to the smallest things as well. One thing I don't like saying about the importance of working with your hormones, cycle syncing, whatever, is that it's optimizing your life. I really hate that. It is true though. Doing something sustainable is definitely more optimal for your efficiency and longevity and all that. But I really don't like the idea of optimizing your life. Like, life is not about optimization. And I hate thinking like that. So I'm not trying to push that as the reason you should be doing this. But if that does appeal to you, that is a benefit. Our cycles are in line with the moon, 28 days. And obviously, that is different for some people. Like, some people have a longer cycle, some people have a shorter cycle. But, like, in general, we have a 28-day cycle, which is like in line with the moon, also 28 days. So, you can think of your menstrual cycle as your new moon phase. Dark, inward, not really very showy. And then your ovulatory phase is your full moon, right? So that's when you are shining bright, you're glowing, you want to go out there, you want to be out there, put yourself out there. It's really cool that we are in line with the moon. I freaking love the moon. I've always loved the moon. So I just think it's so cool. And with it being in line with the moon, you can also like literally align with the moon. So there are different kinds of cycles, depending on when you bleed. So there is red moon cycle, pink, white, and purple. I have a purple moon cycle, and basically what they mean, I can't remember the difference between red and white. One of them is bleeding in the new moon, one of them is bleeding in the full moon. And then pink moon is bleeding during the waxing moon, and purple moon is bleeding during the waning moon. So that's what I do. The reason I think it's cool to know that is because then you don't really need to use like period tracking apps. You can just look at the moon, and then you can also look at the moon to know when you're ovulating, because it would just be the opposite. So if you bleed on new moon, you'll ovulate on a full moon. It's cool. And now earlier I mentioned that your dietary needs also change with each phase. And I don't know about you, but that's the part that I always felt the most pressure on. Because it's like, I don't know, you have to now remember all the things that you should be eating in this time. And, oh, my phase changed, so I should stop eating that and start eating this. I don't think it's that deep. And I don't think you should be that serious about it. I don't. But I focus more on the things that help my symptoms and honestly just make me feel good. And it really does take getting to know your body. So it takes time. I've taken these past few months to learn that. Um, so yeah, really, I try not to be too strict with myself. Like you'll see all these lists on the internet of like, oh, during your follicular phase, you must be eating this stuff. During this, you must be eating this stuff. And I honestly take it as a guideline and learn what feels good for you. Because also, like, I don't always have control over what I eat. I'm currently living with either my mom or by my boyfriend. And only sometimes do I really have control over what I eat. And even when you go visit people, like, they will be making whatever meal they want to make and you got to eat it. And you don't want to be sitting there thinking,
oh, but I'm in my ovulatory phase. I shouldn't be eating this.
Like, be grateful for whatever meal you're getting. Like, food is still so nourishing no matter what you're getting. Well, in this day and age, that's not necessarily true. But I mean, like, raw cooked foods. Raw cooked, oh, myself. I mean, like, home cooked meals. Don't let it get to you too much because there was a while where I was really letting it get to me. And I took it way too seriously. Nothing in life is that deep. I really do stick by that. For me, when I do have control over whatever I'm eating, I really do try to focus on what's going to help my symptoms during the time. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but certain symptoms like PMS, mood swings, period pains, even like hormonal acne, none of that is normal. It's all from this modern society we live in. We aren't in touch with our bodies, we aren't in touch with nature. Nothing's right. So none of that is actually normal. We're not supposed to experience those things. So there are ways in which you can fix that through food, through nature, through your diet. Because your body is the messenger. So it's just trying to tell you something. You're either lacking something or you have too much of something. And honestly, food helps with that. I honestly believe that in nature, you have everything you could ever need. Because nature doesn't make any mistakes. It's God, after all. And a tip I have for anyone out there that isn't really in control of their meals, like let's say you're given meals from work or you're living with someone who chooses the meals, whatever. If you're in control of what you snack on, that's also going to help you a lot because there are a few like snack options that can help with symptoms and that just benefit you during each phase. Like you can do nut cycling. I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but it's basically where you focus on snacking on certain nuts during different phases of your cycle because they provide different benefits. So, like in your menstrual phase, I'm pretty sure that's when you should be focusing on having like Brazil nuts, walnuts, because those have more omega 3s, which will help with your inflammation, which will basically help to lower period pains and also the acne that you experience during that time. Pumpkin seeds you should be having in your follicular phase. And it's either almonds or cashews or both that is more for like your ovulatory phase. So yeah, you can do that. And then also like in your late luteal phase, having dark chocolate is also really good because the cocoa is really helpful when it comes to certain symptoms. And it also provides magnesium, which is really good for reducing cramps and also for reducing cortisol, which is also really good. You want to reduce your cortisol, reduce inflammation. One thing that has helped me a lot is to focus on how I snack if I can't focus on my meals. But if you can, in your luteal and menstrual phase, especially late luteal, starting with sweet potatoes and red meat, and basically in that time, because you're going to be shedding blood, you want to focus on blood building foods. It makes sense, right? So you'll have things with iron, so that would be beetroot, red meat, even spinach. But with spinach, there are some modifications. To get optimal iron from spinach, you want to add vitamin C. So you can add some lemon or something like that. That's just a little tip. Losing blood can lead to iron deficiencies, so you want to make sure you're getting that. I remember hearing this in honors. Iron deficiency is one of the most common things that we experience as a whole. And like most people don't even realize that they have an iron deficiency. It can be so subtle. I probably have one. I know sometimes when I get up, I can't see anything. So, yeah, really getting your iron in is important. And I think, especially as a woman, I think women experience it the most, if I can remember correctly. During your menstrual phase, you want to focus on more home cooked meals. You don't want to focus on raw meals. You don't want to put strain on your digestive system. So, having warm cooked meals, that is the best because honestly, your digestive system does take a lot of strain when you have cold. Even just drinking warm water helps your digestive system. You stop bloating when you drink warm beverages during your eating times, especially. And because of that, in your follicular and ovulatory, that's when you'll focus more on your raw foods, getting your fiber in, and also getting in some probiotics, prebiotics. That's when you really want to focus on all of that stuff. It obviously can be more specific depending on the person, but that's kind of how I do it. I try not to be too like,
Okay, it's my ovulatory phase. I need to be eating this.
you know what I mean? Like you can be a bit more general with it, and that's honestly what's worked for me. It's more sustainable for me. I can't I can't be so specific with myself, at least not yet. Maybe one day. It's really not that deep. Like I say, all of this is just a guideline. Figure it out for yourself. Listen to how your body reacts to certain things, and you'll figure it out. For targeting specific symptoms, like let's say you get mood swings when you're PMSing or whatever, I've actually heard that just focusing on reducing sugar is so important because basically when you eat high sugar things, your body gets that sugar high and then it drops, and that's when the moods happen. So when you're constantly having little sugary snacks or I don't know, however you have your sugar, that can really play a role in your mood swings. So reducing sugar intake can at least make sure that you're not causing the issue. And that's also why I recommend dark chocolates during your menstrual phase because it's bitter. It doesn't have sugar, or at least not much sugar. So that's still one way for you to be able to have some snacks because in your menstrual phase, that's all you want. If you are experiencing hormonal acne, so like maybe you only get acne in your menstrual phase, or maybe you experience it mainly in your ovulatory phase. You can also tell from like where the acne happens on your face. Like let's say you only get it on your chin. That's hormonal. Then my biggest recommendation, it really has helped me a lot, is spearmint tea. Spearmint tea. That is really good for hormone balancing. And then with period pains, it can be because of inflammation, it can be because of muscle cramping, usually both. So you want to increase your omega 3s. So either having more fatty fish, more olive oil, or getting those omega 3 supplements, if you don't have control over your meals or you can't afford those things, the omega 3 supplements will help as well because omega 3 helps to lower inflammation. Get rid of those seed oils, honestly. And you also want to increase magnesium because muscle cramping is a big part of it. So either having magnesium supplements specifically at night or just having more. I can't remember if spinach gives you iron or magnesium, or maybe both. It doesn't matter. But I know that dark chocolate does also provide magnesium, and I think certain nuts also do. So, yeah, there's different ways that you can increase your magnesium levels, and that really does help with muscle cramps. There's lots of different ways that your diet can help with the symptoms that you experience. So, really look into it. And that's honestly how I cycle sync. To me, it's just all about getting in touch with my body and learning what helps it feel good because it's not the same every single day of the month. And you gotta accept that, otherwise, you're just gonna be feeling like shit. And you're gonna constantly be feeling like you're fighting your body. And you should never be doing that. Like, your body is this super intelligent vessel that you get to experience this life with. It's so intelligent. Like, I don't think people realize it. Honestly, studying biology made me realize it. And, nature is also so providing, so intelligent as well. Use nature. I appreciate having this conversation with you. I appreciate that you were here to listen, but I also want to hear what you have to say. So please comment down below your experience, your thoughts. Thanks so much for this. I honestly had a great time. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Mwah. Thank you so much for listening to today's Pillow Talk episode. If you have any thoughts, please comment them down below. I want this to be a conversation, like a sleepover. I love you so much. Bye.